Hey class, hope you guys are doing well out there. I wanted to get you started on your homework here for March 27th. There's going to be circles in this guy and there's going to be parabolas. So we've done a lot on circles, or we did before the spring break. So I wanted to bring in a little bit of that just to review, because what we're going to be doing with parabolas is very similar. So the first two problems here have to do with circles. In order to make sure that we're actually writing this in the right form, we need to know what the standard form equation of a circle is. Okay, I did a problem like this in video 1 of the lesson for today. So if you don't remember how to change these into standard form, go back and watch that video. Basically what we're going to do is complete the square strategy. Now, I'm not going to do these with you because there's only 2 of them, and I already did one on a video for you. But I will give you the equation. So if you're working on this and you don't remember, what we're looking for is something like this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, radius squared. We need it to look something like this, and in order to get it in that form, again, our strategy for doing that is completing the square. But I just wanted to highlight that these two guys are going to be circles. All right, the rest of the problems in this are talking about parabolas, so I tried to make that bold for you so you saw that. And this is talking about the focal form equation. Right? So focal form equation looks similar to this guy because it has like similar pieces with the x minus h and the y minus k, and there's like a squared floating around in there, but there's actually only one squared in a parabola. There's a 2 squared things, well actually there's 3 because there's radius squared in the circle, but the parabola only has 1. And it looks something like this: x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. This would be the equation for a parabola that opens either up or down. This one would be up. If there's a negative out here, or if this piece in front of the parentheses was negative, you would have a parabola that opens down. And then for a parabola that opens up either left or right, it's going to look like this. Very similar, except for, you notice the x minus h piece and the y minus k piece, they kind of swap places. This one would open to the right, and then if this was negative, if this piece here was negative, it would open to the left. So that's kind of what you're going to use on these ones. Now actually, I am going to do a problem with you. I wanted to look at one of these ones that have the negatives out front. So some of these have negatives, like you'll see number 5 has a negative out front. To get rid of that guy, or to take care of that, we're not going to do anything revolutionary or anything new in terms of algebra. We're just going to divide by -1, and you can do that at a lot of different places. You could do that right here at the beginning if you wanted to. You can kind of do it in the middle. It doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and start off the way we started off before. So we first want to look for what variable is being squared. In this case, it's the y variable being squared. So everything that doesn't have a y is going to get shipped over to the right-hand side. So we're going to subtract a 9x, and we're going to add a 54 on the left. We better do that same thing on the right. Okay, so this is gone, and now we have these things over here on the right. So our next line will be negative y squared plus 6y. I'm going to leave a space here because remember, we're going to complete the square here in a second. And then on the right-hand side, minus 9x plus 54. All right, so before we complete the square, like we don't like to have stuff out in front of this squared variable when we complete the square. That kind of throws everything off. So we need to get rid of that negative. So if you want to do it at this point, you can. Again, you can do it right at the beginning, but we need to divide by -1 or multiply everything by -1, something like that. So if you divide both sides by -1, there's kind of a distribution thing going on, because this is going to get divided by -1, and this is going to get divided by -1, and so is this piece and this piece. So the effect of either multiplying by -1 on both sides or dividing by -1 on both sides is every sign that you have is going to change. So we're going to have a positive y squared. We don't need to put a plus there because we know it's positive now. We're going to have a negative 6y. We're going to have a positive 9x, and then we're going to have negative 54. Okay, so that's really the only difference here. It's not too big of a deal. We just need to get rid of the negative. Now we can complete the square. So we need to like I said, we could do that at the beginning, we could do it at this stage, but it does need to happen before we complete the square so that we can do it correctly. Okay, now when we complete the square, remember the number that's going to go here is half of this guy and then squared. So negative 6 divided by 2 will be negative 3. Square it, you get a positive 9. So this is going to be a plus 9, but we also have to do that on the right-hand side, plus 9, plus 9. So on the left, this now we can factor, we can write it as a binomial squared. We know it's going to be y with something and then squared. But the thing that goes here is half of this, right, negative 3. And again, that's the number we use to get here as well. We squared it to get this one. So we take this guy, we divide it in 2, that's the number that goes here. If we square that number, that's the number that goes here. On the right-hand side, we have 9x, and then we're going to have plus 45, or excuse me, minus 45 when we add these two together. Okay, we're almost done. We just need to factor this side, right? So we want like x with a number and then a number out front. So we're going to factor out that 9. So our final equation here, when all is said and done, is going to be y minus 3 squared, and then we're going to have times 9, or equals 9 times x minus 5. Okay, so now that is in our focal form. This is the focal width right here, that 9. And then we also have the vertex here. So the vertex is going to be 5, 3, right? 5 from this and 3 from this. And then we need to find out the direction. Well, because this is a y squared parabola, this is you're going to open left or right. And because this piece right here is positive versus negative, this is actually going to open up to the right. So this is going to be a right opening parabola. Okay, so there you go. If you have a negative on the front, like in number 5, it's not too much more work. You just need to divide everything by -1 or multiply everything by -1, and the effect that that's going to have is changing all the signs of all the pieces. Other than that, it's pretty similar. You do need to use that complete the square strategy again. Once you have that, you can throw it back into focal form. I hope that helped you guys get started, or maybe this was the last one you were on and that was the last one you needed. Anyway, good luck with the homework, and office hours tomorrow from 10 to 12. Look forward to hearing from you, and keep up the good work. Thanks, guys.